just after 2:30 here, Friday in Grand Forks, in May 23rd, and behind me you see people lined up waiting in Gyro Park. We're waiting for Clara Hughes to show up. Her big ride is coming through town this afternoon, and we have the tail end of Farmers Market sitting here already, and over here on your left, my right, is the bus with bleachers set up and a tent, and hey, maybe she's out there. It rained not that long ago. I hope that she can get dumped on, but here we are in Gyro Park waiting for Clara Hughes, Canada's best Olympian, on her big ride.
To Mr. Ian Mitchell. Ian is currently working with Child and Youth at School District 51 and Boundary Family and Individual Services. Big hand for Ian.
Okay, settle down, settle down. I was hoping there'd be a podium or something, so I'm not at all nervous, so you think you see some nerves. Okay. Well, thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, Suzanne. I only worked with you for like 2 years. So I'm honored and thrilled to be here today, to be here as a part of this celebration of Clara's big ride and all the work that she's been doing and her team's been doing, and that really communities across Canada have been doing to spread the message of hope with regards to recovery from mental illness, as well as the very important job of trying to get rid of the stigma surrounding mental illness. Now, before Clara Hughes went public with her experiences of depression, I don't think many people, myself included, would have ever thought of putting her name and depression in the same sentence. Jesus, I'm shaking. Okay. In fact, her public persona portrays what most people would consider to be the opposite of depression. Oh, wow. This is what Clara's big ride is all about right here. This is the tea. Woo! All right. Where was I? So her beaming smile, her boundless energy and positivity, the fact that she's so driven, she's motivated, and of course all the amazing things she's accomplished. Multiple medal winner, Summer and Winter Olympics. She's just, you don't think of her as someone who would be depressed. These are the very qualities that depression tends to attack. Depression robs people of joy and hope, of motivation and energy. But this apparent contradiction is what I think it really makes her message so powerful. Now, I remember when I first read about her struggling with depression, I was thrilled, which sounds really wrong, right? Really kind of, why would I be thrilled? Now, of course, I wasn't happy that she'd actually suffered depression. I know personally what that's like, and of course would never wish it on anyone. No, I was excited because I knew in that moment the power her story would have in terms of spreading hope for people and families affected by depression and other mental illness. And I was elated at the huge boost I knew she would be giving to the fight against the stigma, as I said, that puts the blame on the person who's already suffering. I've seen that struggle in my professional life, and I've lived it personally. I've worked with people young and old to speak of how hard it was to even admit that there's something wrong in the first place. People already devastated by the self-esteem destroying effects of the illness are further stigmatized by the judgment, the stereotyping and misunderstanding. I've also lived it myself and had close family members suffer through it. Depression robs you of all hope, tells you constantly that you're worthless, and makes you want to run from the very people who care most about you and could best help. Now, stigma compounds this and reinforces it by piling on even more blame and shame. So this is why I'm so excited about Clara's big ride. Clara Hughes has, by virtue of her personality and incredible career in the public eye, a special platform from which to spread such a crucial message. There's so many things that are great about this campaign, but I don't think you want to listen to me speak all day, so I thought I'd narrow it down to my top 3. Woo! Number 1, there is hope. Recovery is possible, and in many cases, and in fact usually, almost always, we expect recovery. You can get better, it will get better. The bulk of her illustrious career came after her bout with major depression. I did some research on the interwebs, And by my account, she won 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medals in the Olympics after she went through her bout with major depression. Life goes on. The sun can and does shine again. Number 2, reach out for help. I think Clara's story shows nicely that we can't do it alone. Mental illnesses like depression are terribly isolating, but as surely as isolation represents a major part of the disease, people are an absolutely crucial part of the prescription to treat that disease. From supportive friends and family members. Thank you. This guy is great. Give him a raise. Whatever you're paying him, pay him more. Counselors and other professionals, and making connections with others who have suffered and are still suffering with similar ailments. You need to know that you are not alone. The sun shone again for Clara in large part because of the support of people in her life. And perhaps the greatest gift that Clara Hughes offers to us is this: depression is not a dirty word. To take it further, schizophrenia is not a dirty word. Bipolar disorder, personality disorder, anxiety disorders, and I could go on. These are not dirty words. There has been too much shame that has caused too many people to suffer in silence for too long. There have long been cruel stereotypes of people with depression and other illnesses, and the most common one is that they are somehow weak or lazy. I want to tell you today that some of the most courageous people I've ever known are the people who continue to face life, to struggle on despite mental illness. People who have achieved victories, large and small, in their recovery. These are my heroes. There are many of these people in our community, and I think that a lot of them are here today. So can you please join me in applauding all those people for their truth, the truth of their strength and courage, and tell them that they will have us as allies in the effort to break down the destructive myths about mental illness. So I just want to wrap up by saying a word about what this means for our youth. I used to work as Suzanne was saying. I'm working now with youth in our schools and in the Boundary Family and Individual Services Society, and I'm really hopeful about what we're doing here today and what it means for our young people. We know that mental illness often strikes first in the teens or early 20s, but historically it has taken years, sometimes decades, before these people actually seek help and are able to find some help and support. I'm really hopeful about the significance of what our gathering here today, as far as these young people, and as well as the broader shift that we are making as a society away from stigma and fear and towards caring and compassion. I'm confident that if we continue to work together, young people faced with symptoms of depression will know that they are not alone. They will be more willing to come forward and seek help, and they will find an understanding and supportive ear when they do. There will be less suffering and more recovery. Together, let's keep this vital movement going so that we can keep suffering to a minimum and give all our young people a shot at reaching their potential. Thank you, Clara, and thank you, Grand Forks.
Yeah. All right, that's our lead car.
Famous impression. Yeah. Oh, Lionsgate. Yeah, you've been across the face. You're just making stuff up now. You're just messing with me. Hey, if you're messing with me, I respect it because you give me material. I appreciate it. It's a great deal. Day one of being a trans folks, I've already got a double. So there you go. That's not bad. Okay, have you? You there? We're close? Real close. Okay, so barricades are being moved, folks. So that means we're dangerously close to having Clara in here. So, you know what? I'm cool with this chant over here. Clara, 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 Clara. Here she comes, folks! Day 71 Wonderful people. We've been hanging out, waiting for you. We're ready.
Yeah, sorry we took so long. We're on our bikes. This is amazing. I'm just going to be like 5 minutes, just going to change my shirt, pound a shake, come back out, say hi. This is amazing. We've had honks the whole way today. Wow. I'll be right back. Right back.
It's true, she actually will be right back. She about
Awesome, thank you. All right, so it's changing and pounding a shake, as she said. We have a very special guest that's here today to talk about her experience. Miss Deb Kozak. Deb is a mental health consumer who has struggled with mental illness for most of her life. She's an active member of our local Granby Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is an interior health facility in Grand Forks where those who suffer from mental illnesses can attend a variety of programs and participate in creating a safe space. Deb has become an inspiration to her peers and has spoken at several events about her own experiences with mental illness. Her passion is breaking down barriers and stigma related to mental illness. Deb! Deb is...
Thank you so much. I'm sitting because of my fall. Okay, in my personal experience dealing with the stigma of mental health, I first had to look at myself. And it took a long time for me to recognize my own stigma within myself. As I wasn't sick like those people, but I knew something was holding me back. So with reluctance on my part and the loving support of my husband and sons, I entered hospital. I was really scared, not so much of mental illness, but what I had to face with my birth family, as they thought in the old school ways. Mental health had to be hidden away and not spoken of. Shortly after I entered the hospital, the so-called family started calling to show their ignorance and their anger at me because I went outside the home for help. I started to receive nasty phone calls from my brothers to the tone of, don't say anything about what happened in the old house. Even if you stay sick, that's the cost of keeping the secret. I was devastated. They didn't want to find out, or anybody else to find out, that they had a crazy sister. The phone calls from them, they were devastating, and they really, really set back my healing. So with tears and confusion, I slowly started to find the strength to create boundaries, enable me to face my demons. And all that had done was anger them. As I became stronger, so I called my family. They came to visit me in hospital. First it was my brothers yelling at me, what the hell are you doing? You're destroying the family. You're destroying us. Why are you doing this to us? You're destroying our friendships. They're going to find out I have a crazy sister. After a while, the greatest blow, a stigma that really hit me in the gut, was that my parents came to visit me in hospital because they had to show me their shame in my illness. They were asked questions why I had disappeared and why I had made the decision to heal. Because mental health was destroying their relationships in their community, and it was hurting their family business. Yeah. Whew. Nervous. I felt so alone as I shut the door on them, but with the support of my husband and my sons, I set strong boundaries to protect myself and my family. And that still stands, that fence still stands 17 years later. Yes, I've heard all the street comments. You know, oh, she's that crazy lady. Or, oh, stay away from her, she's dangerous, she'll flip out at any time. Well, that's all the time. I'm trying to learn how to cope with my mental illness. Even after many years, I still feel the stigma of mental health. As I was getting stronger, I chose to open a small home-based business with the support of my husband, my sons, and my support workers. Well, as I was writing my business plan and the story of how I grew into understanding my illness, I was hit with a closer sign of stigma. It was strongly advised by business people. Don't share my mental health story because it will hurt my chances of getting ahead. Well, with that statement, I was hurt, but I was also in a place where I said to myself, no more hiding. It's time to speak out, even if my bead shop grows slower than I want it to. Sometimes you just have to challenge the past. So with my husband beside me, I decided to speak out and turn my mess into my message. And that is mental health has to come out of the closet. So I so strongly stand beside Clara Hughes and her Battle of Stigma campaign. Let's talk. Let my local story give you knowledge and more understanding of the struggles of stigma and healing with mental health. Thank you so much for listening to my small story. So let's talk. The coffee's on. Come to my place.
Thank you so much, Deb. Talk about having courage. It takes courage to come forward and face our struggles, and it takes even greater courage to come out in front of your community and speak about them. So thank you, Deb. And next up, we have the Mayor of Grand Forks, Brian Taylor, here. Give a big round of applause for Mr. Taylor. Thank you, Brian, for coming out. And
we have a nice letter for Clara that we wrote from the city as a memory, and a swag bag and various other kinds of mementos. Thank you. Well, mental health has touched everyone's life and certainly has touched my life. I think the emphasis here has been on education, and although I grew up, went to university, had basic education in psychology and various other kinds of mental health issues, I knew the academics, but I didn't know the people. So I was in a situation in Kelowna back in 1979 where I was running a sheltered workshop for mentally handicapped people. One of the gentlemen that came to the workshop, his name was Alan, and I met him every day, and he was kind of talkative, so I called him over one day and I said, Alan, you're not mentally handicapped. He said, yes, I am. I got papers to prove it. So sure enough, he dragged out his papers, and he had been identified by choice by his doctors because there were no services for schizophrenics. They didn't have any support groups. He ended up at home alone. We've come a long way since those days. Clearly, Grand Forks has been the kind of community that has welcomed all kinds of citizens to our community. We've been a very open community. We put up with a lot of deviance, hello Al,
There's your hat, buddy.
But we love them all the time. So, you know, that's the kind of community we are. That's the kind of community I want to see us continue to have. And so, I guess what I would say is that it's great to know the academics, but I think we have a community here that has the potential to keep an open heart. So, thank you very much to Claire for choosing our community, coming through here, and I'd certainly like to encourage everybody to be educated and open your heart. Thank you very much.
Hey, hold it, Brian. Hey,
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to pass it back to Derek here for a bit of entertainment and some more prizes. Thank you.
We will be giving away more things, but we do have some else. First of all, can I just take a second and just point out something really important? The number one fear of most people on the face of the planet is public speaking. Never mind coming in front of your community and talking about something deeply personal. Another hand for Deb, if you could. That was unbelievable. That was so impressive. Seriously, that was moving. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I was really impressed. Yes, so, yeah, so it's been... yeah, see, I got a little distracted. So, ladies and gentlemen, now that things have been toweled off and we've had a change of wardrobe, because if you travel about 132 kilometers, as you can imagine, speaking in front of a lot of people is a little intimidating. You have to catch your breath. As you know, it's intimidating to talk about something deeply personal in front of a bunch of people, as Deb can attest to. Ladies and gentlemen, 6-time Olympic medalist. The only human being on the face of the earth to win multiple medals in both Winter and Summer Olympics, and an absolute tireless advocate for mental health all across this great nation of Canada. Please welcome here to Grand Forks, in front of you, in front of me, Clara Hughes! Oh man. I was just saying, I'm slowly falling in love with this town.
I know.
It's so great.
Everything inside. Mayor Taylor, thank you so much, and thank you for the beautiful gifts and welcoming me and us and our team to your town. And Deb, I don't know where you are right now, but I was listening to your story. Thank you so much for sharing. Just beautiful, beautiful courage, and I'm sure you've helped so many people by sharing your struggle. It's what it's all about, is opening up this conversation, and you really made our ride come to life here in Grand Forks, and we're so stoked to roll into town and get to listen to you. So thank you very much, and thank you everybody for coming out. This has been the most amazing. It has seriously been an incredible day on the bike. We started our day at Astoria Secondary School this morning and had an awesome event. One of my teammates, my riding partners, Ina Yoko-Teutenberg, joined me this morning with Derek, and we had a great event with all the students, and they had all these chalk drawings on the ground. We rolled into town and rolled up the Anarchist?
The Anarchist, yeah, that's right, the Anarchist.
When I was at the school, because I've ridden that before, and I actually rode through Grand Forks last July with my husband Peter. We saw a couple bike tourists who had their bikes parked. That was us last year. We were like fully loaded bike tourists with our pannies, with our like camping gear. So I know that climb, and I was trying to remember it, and I asked the students, I'm like, it's like called the Incinerator or something. And then I was calling it the Kamikaze, but it's even better. It's the Anarchist. So we made it up there, no problem. We had a tailwind, and it felt way easier on a racing bike. And it's so beautiful, this whole ride. This whole area is just so special, and I'm really grateful to roll through it the second time. And we were a little bit more incognito last year with our bike touring bikes, and rolling through this year to be able to share and talk and hopefully elevate the conversation with mental health just means the world to me. It means the world to our whole team. You guys have honestly just given us so much energy by showing up in so many honks along the road today. All the truckers who gave us their air horns, that was like, there was trucker love on the roads. And we felt it. So thanks for having us today. It's great to be here.
Now, yeah, of course. So you started back in March. One of the most unforgiving winters we've had in decades. Now this is probably the first bit of heat you've had the whole trip, right? Is this a good thing, or does this help you or hinder the heat?
It is just so much needed for not just us, the riders. My husband Peter Guzman has been with me every kilometer of the ride. Ina Yoko-Toigenberg, we've had 2 different riders, Mark Walters and Burke Swindlehurst as well, have been with us. And we have literally ridden through snow and cold. We were riding some of our rides in Ontario that were up to 185 kilometers long. We were riding in -12, not including the wind chill. And then we had like ice pellets in New Brunswick. We had rain in Prince Edward Island. In Newfoundland, we had everything. And then the rock gave us everything. But it also, you know, there's just been so much love along the roads. We've been on the road now 71 days. We went all across northern Canada, all across the north, the Nunatsiavut region in northern Labrador, Nunavik region in northern Quebec. Up in Nunavut, we were in Iqaluit, we were in Rankin Inlet, then Yellowknife, and then way up to Inuvik, which is, I didn't know this until I got up there a long time ago, but it's north of the Arctic Circle. And we rode a highway called the Dempster Highway, 750 kilometers of dirt, of mud, of clay, of rocks, of snow, and sometimes ice, and we ended in Dawson City. And that was our northern chunk of the big ride. And we finally hit Vancouver Island about a week ago, and we got the most beautiful sunshine. So we went right from winter to full-on summer, and British Columbia has been so good to us. The weather has been amazing. The scenery, as you all know, it is beautiful, British Columbia, for a reason. So it's awesome to be here and have the ride come through and just be in a beautiful part of Canada and just feel the support of this ride, and more importantly of mental health. We felt it in the entire province, and we feel it here in Grand Forks, and it definitely gives us fuel, because on day 71 our whole crew is exhausted. We've done almost 180 community events as well along the way. It hasn't been just about the 6,400 kilometers now that we've ridden. It has been all about community wherever we've gone. That's the most important thing, is connecting with people, letting people find out what's going on in your community with all of these stands out here. You know, you get to find out what resources are here. And it might not be for yourself, it might be for someone that you know that is struggling, that needs help. And that's what this is all about, is letting people know that they're not alone, letting people know that people struggle. And that struggle is part of being human. It's part of my story as an Olympic athlete. It's part of musicians we've met along the way, artists, actors, you name it. There is struggle everywhere, and it's part of what makes us human. So get to talk about that and really celebrate that as part of being human. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
I concur. Yeah, see, please give us applause for everything. I love this town. Okay. Speaking of somebody else that I was falling in love with, there's a little girl. Yeah, that's right. And, yeah, gingers for the knuckle for the gingers. You feel you're on my page. See, they're everywhere. Redheads are everywhere in this crowd. There was a little girl who was too shy to ask. I don't know where she's, back there somewhere. She just wanted. She was like, "Can you just make sure? Can you ask Clara this?" She wants to know, did you see the signs on the road? She just wanted to know if you saw the signs. She had a hand in making them. They're up on the road. You saw the signs. Okay, just making sure.
I love them. They're beautiful.
Okay,
they're beautiful. And then when along the way too, midway, there all the preschool students were out on the roadside with their teachers. When we got to Greenwood, there were all the students out there as well. We got a whole tray of cinnamon rolls at the Deadwood Junction. How lucky are we? And then rolling into town and seeing all the signs along the way, I kept thinking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Where we're supposed to stop? Because we just felt so welcomed. As soon as we got down that hill, we felt like we were home. So I definitely saw those signs. Thank you.
Question answered. Perfect. So we have different provinces, we have different cities, we have different towns, we have different climates, we have different kinds of people. We have tiny people, we have young people, we have impressive mustaches over there. We have people who brought their canes. And again, somebody else I'm falling in love with. So many people, so many different kinds of people. When they come here and they see you do this amazing feat, when they go home back to their communities, when they go back to their houses, what do you hope they're walking away with? What do you hope that message that resonates with them as they go back to their lives after this?
Well, I just really hope that people can realize, and I know that you all realize, that's why you're here, that mental health is something that affects every single person. A woman said along the way in Nanaimo, BC, she said that 1 out of 1 Canadians are affected by mental illness, and I think that is actually a true statement. The statistic is 1 in 5 Canadians will be affected, will suffer and struggle with mental illness in their life, but 1 out of 1 is affected because everybody knows somebody. And this is something that has touched my life. I went through depression as a young athlete. I got through depression only by getting help and accepting help. And it took a long time, but I was able to come back to the world of sport and come back to it for Canada, for everybody here, for our entire nation on the ice and on the bike. As someone who has gone through mental illness, I have a sister who has struggled deeply with bipolar disorder, and I have a father who struggled his whole life. And you know, I'm somebody who has had success on the world stage, and I know many people who have succeeded, who have created beautiful art and beautiful music, been amazing mothers, awesome members of the community who give back so much, and they've struggled too. So it's really about normalizing this conversation. I hope that people can take the idea of thinking about what they can do to make it better for people, so that there is not a person that suffers and struggles in silence, because too many people feel the shame and feel the stigma attached to mental illness, so they feel they can't talk about it. So to come out here and to listen to Deb, to be able to share a little bit of my story, to hear your mayor talk about acceptance, to talk about a community with an open heart, a community that accepts people who are struggling, this is what it's all about. And I hope that you can take away just this kind of lightness on the subject as well, because we often just hear so much negativity when this is something that touches so many people, that we just need to realize that it's part of being human, and it's okay, and it's also a sickness that is treatable. And if I can be an example of what a person can do who struggles with, who has struggled with, who copes and manages and lives with mental illness, I hope that I can show you that anything is possible. I mean, we have ridden almost all the way around Canada, and we're having fun with this. And it's actually a fun thing. Anything is possible. And the weather that we have been through, the hills that we are going to ride up, I hope that we can also show that we're just not willing to give up on the possibility of a stigma-free Canada. And to young Canadians, you need to realize that you have a role to play. You have the ability to help your friends, to help your classmates, to be there for somebody who's struggling, and to realize that you're never, ever alone.
Fantastic. A message that resonates. Now, I know the memory of you coming in to Grand Forks, all these people here, these wonderful people who showed up, I think that will last for a very long time, but we're going to ensure...
This is seriously
it's pretty
amazing.
Great. So we're going to ensure that that lasts with a physical manifestation of that memory with this bicycle. We're going to leave this here. This is going to be a visual memory. Here, look, I have a Sharpie for you.
Love it.
Right there. And the value is going to go up a little bit because it's going to get signed by an Olympian right now.
Derek, don't blow it too far out of proportion. Don't be putting this on eBay. Good luck with that if you do.
So Clara's going to sign this bike. It's going to stay right here in Grand Forks, and it's going to be a visual memory, a visual manifestation of the memory that we want you to keep, and that is keep the conversation going about mental health all year round. That's going to stay right here. We're leaving a blue bike in every town that we go into to remind people that this conversation should continue all year round. Not just today, not just for About Let's Talk Day, not just when we drive into your town, but all year round. That is what I want you to think of when you see that bike. So, more good news. Normally this would be the part where you would rest, but you're actually going to hang back and take a few photos, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, we're going to hang back, yeah.
Do you guys want to take some pictures?
Yeah. Okay. So here's how this works. We're going to form a line right over here. And by the way, please don't tell Soyuz this, and please don't tell Nelson this, but not every town gets this. Just you guys are really, just don't tell them.
Seriously, the hardest part of this ride is, like I said, we've done almost 180 community events as well as riding all day long, and there's never enough time. There's never enough time to be with the communities, but I'm really glad that we actually have tonight off. So, which is rare. We've had a lot of 3 and 4 event days, so especially the young ones. I'd love to be able to get my picture with you, and yeah, right on. And if you want to sign anything, we can do that too. So
So the lineup will start here and go around this way. So line up here. We'll get through as many as we possibly can.
Well, there you have it. Canada's most decorated Olympian coming out and standing up for something which used to have a terrible stigma. I'm sure the stigma is still there, but when you come out, when you're at the height of your popularity and your fame, and you want to put all that on the line to come out and talk about something like this, good on you, Clara Hughes. We need more people like you. For What's Up, GF? GF TV and the Boundary Sentinel, I'm Les here at Gyro Park. And they're taking pictures.